Shizzle on the Wizzle is supported by our proud sponsors Lufoot and Surf Center, Surfed Shop, and surfshop.no. Thank you very much.
Does either one of you have anything even remotely interesting to tell me?
Caught my first tube this morning, sir.
The Shizzle on the Wizzle.
The Wizzle Shizzle.
The Shizzle on the Wizzle.
The Shizzle on the Wizzle.
With Jaymin and Pear.
Alright, let's do it.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Shizzle on the Wizzle. This is gonna be our G-Land edition, and with me I have, as always, but now new and improved,
Robotic version.
the Bionic Man himself, Jaymin Rowlands.
Yeah, I'm here, peeps. Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, and as our victim in the studio tonight, Scott Erlandsen.
I'm suffering. Such a victim.
Such a victim. It's gonna be a hard one. Now, all right, guys, welcome back into the speaker telt.
Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure. We wanted to have you here with Valentin last time, but some mismanagement and
I just can't stand that guy. I can't sit in the same room as him.
I know. So we had to fake that one on getting me out of this.
Yes, thank you, boys.
So now it's your turn. You can talk all the shit you want about Valentin.
Perfect. He's well. Do you know what? He's got shit on all of us because he's sitting in the mental wires with perfect waves in front of him.
What a perfect comeback.
Yeah, and we're here fighting the farmers with parking spaces and stuff.
I blocked him for like 3 months now.
Yeah, he's getting waves and we're getting pollen allergies.
Yeah, but also I think he because he talked about it, he never had like a reef scratch or so. And I think on the second day he got cheese shredded.
That is so good. So he was getting the lime or the lemon on his back probably straight away on those scratches. That's good stuff.
So we know it's pleasure and pain. And that's pretty much a good introduction to my G-Land episode.
Yeah.
That was pleasure and pain.
Pleasure being the time we actually watched it, and pain being the time it was actually run.
Yeah.
For Norway.
Yeah.
It was another midnighter.
Definitely. I think this was probably the one I watched the least live.
Yeah, no, definitely. We missed quite a bit. Well, I was lucky enough to be in the comfort of my own hospital bed. So I managed to actually, get a few midnight heats in. But for sure, it was kind of hard to keep up to date. And especially with stopping and starting all the time.
Yeah, there were some big lay days. Like, I can only imagine how it felt like. I know other podcasts are talking about this, but Philippe Toledo, first heat, you have to be waiting on call all the freaking time.
Yeah.
So, but there's no place else to be. So that is, I think it was interesting. I heard some interviews, post interviews, and how people experience G-Land and stuff. It was like Philippe Toledo, he hated it.
Yeah.
Because it was like there's nothing to do, man. It was like it's like that's it. You stuck there in the jungle, you know. And there's nothing going on, and all these lay days, and then you have like Eden Ewing and stuff. He's taking people out into the jungle and they're fucking meditating and they're having a time of their life.
Such
and it's like best place ever.
And then the first time that the whole tour has a big blowout with each other and gets like wasted and stuff, Kelly's in his private yacht complaining about the noise, you know. So it's just like
well, he's 50. He's an old man. I can feel that.
I heard Joanne Defay was sculling beers.
Yeah,
good on her.
Hats off to her, the French.
Hats off. And
she kept me in the top 10. That I had her.
Oh, we're jumping straight into the fantasy league.
It's just a teaser. It's just a teaser.
But no, we have to say congratulations, obviously, to Jack Robinson and then Joanne Defay for taking the win. Definitely. That was
back to back for Jack.
Yeah,
back to back Jack.
Back Jack.
Jack back.
But let's spool out a little bit back into G-Land. Everybody's had these sick expectations, you know. It's funny. I was listening to the Swellians the other day, where it was before G-Land started, and they're like, oh, it's gonna be tube riding, it's gonna be so and so. Everybody was flashing back to 1997 when the last G-Land Quicksilver competition was going there, and I saw the pictures. I went in and it was like, okay, that was picture perfect, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just put it out there straight away. I still would have killed to have gone and surfed those waves, even if it wasn't the perfect G-Land that we all know it for. Like, damn, that still looked like super fun.
Yeah, those lay days still look pretty remarkable, didn't they?
Yeah, for like any Norwegian or any person that lives in a pretty moderate surf place, then that is just like still a luxury.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we definitely didn't get the kind of viewers experience that we kind of wanted out of that.
No, I guess B2 because it's actually where it's situated quite a long way out. There's 200 meters of reef which fills up with water on the high tide and empties out on the low tide. So from that point, it's probably a good 300 plus meters, 400 meters to the actual where the guys are sitting out in the water. So the coverage was good. There was a lot of, considering there was a lot of glare. It wasn't the ideal. I really loved the drone shots that were coming in because you really got that angle of being in the water with those guys and watching them surf. But definitely was a little bit kind of, as far as the actual coverage, I think they did really well considering, but definitely not the easiest place to probably, capture every single turn that went down. I kind of felt like it was a little bit, those afternoons were quite glary and just as a spectator, as a...
imagine how much reef you have to cover with the cameras because it's not just like a shore break that just breaks and then that's it. You have like solid hundreds of meters of reef to cover.
Exactly.
And it's bending out on itself out there. And it's not like you have all the landmarks that you can sit out there and film. You have to be on jet skis and drones because it's out there in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. I was actually, I when I looked on the map and actually, when they said, like, I didn't realize G-Land was actually quite close to, was that kind of southern easternmost point tip of Java. So it's actually... Apparently now there's a fast boat that goes from Bali because if you look at the Indonesian islands, Bali is probably the most common surf destination there. But but even just to get to where they did, it was logistically it was probably an absolute nightmare. So heads up to WSL for the production, and it was bringing the surfing to us.
Yeah. That is where the dream tour kind of started, wasn't it? That's where the whole concept of let's actually just go and chase the best waves around the world rather than run like QS events, in crappy knee-high beach breaks. So let's actually go to the most radical and high progressive waves that there is and just put on a show.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we should drop a little bit of breaking news, and that is that John Florence is injured.
Yeah,
he is not going to be competing in El Salvador.
Yeah, and that knee brace. I guess for those who had him in their fantasy team, I saw that knee brace. As soon as that knee brace went on, I kind of thought to myself,
red lights and alarms.
There was a red flag that went
yeah.
off straight away, and I was thinking to myself, ooh, even. I mean, John 50% is still going to beat half the guys on tour.
It's dangerous.
But, with Medina back in and, guys like Italo and Felipe and Jack Robbo, at the cusp there, they, I don't think, John knew he was going to be struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he dropped down one place in the rankings, so he's still in the top final 5, but he's dropped one place. Jack Robbo's moved up into second now.
Yeah.
So he can still, even by skipping El Salvador, we still have the Rio Pro, and then we still have the
and
we have J-Bay as well. So there's still 3 events. So I think that for him, if you look at the 3 others, he's won Rio before. J-Bay is just
it depends on if his knee's going to get it right.
That is a good point. But yeah, I think that he's obviously trying to play it smart here, and he's going to skip this event so he can focus on recovering. And then I think he's hopefully, if all goes well, he comes for an absolute bang back for Rio and the rest of the events on the tour.
It was definitely nice to see like a full all-star cast though turn up at G-Land.
Yeah.
John, Gabriel, Italo, like it's not often those guys are all in the same contest together. There's usually one of them down with an injury.
And that's really weird that you say that as well, because as soon as Medina came back into competing, John got injured.
I know. It's like they can't be on tour together.
Nah.
No. There's like two magnets trying to push against each other.
And that's what everyone wants. Everyone wants everyone wants Godzilla versus Kong, It's just like in it. Yeah.
That's so true. They I mean, both those guys on top of their game, surfing in a perfect wave. You couldn't ask for anything more as a spectator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Well, you want to cast in a vote who's going to be the champ at the end of the year?
I think it's a little bit too early to say. I think we should do it maybe a couple of events before. I think it gives us
gut feeling. Come on, give us a gut feeling.
Okay, if it's gut feeling, I'll let Jaymin go first.
I reckon Felipe Toledo might win.
I've got my finger on him as well because I think he said this year is like, fuck it. This is my year now. Yeah. I need to do it. Jordy didn't catch it this year.
No.
So Toledo's like, okay.
And Italo's not himself.
No,
he's not surfing how he has been, the last few years he's been...
Red Bull overdosed.
Bravo.
Yeah. I kind of feel like he looks a bit angrier and he looks a little bit off his game as far as like his surfing's there, but looks like there's a bit of head noise.
Yeah. Well, that's what 2.6 million followers on Instagram does to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
You go through that whole formula thing where all of a sudden you get loads of tattoos and the piercings and But
and when you saw
the gold chain,
when you saw Make or Break, I mean he's all about pussy, that's pretty much what he wants.
But he has a missus, doesn't he?
That doesn't
not anymore.
No, okay, it doesn't anymore. Yeah. No, fair enough.
So, but that's a tough lifestyle.
Yeah.
To chase that, and if you're suddenly being chased, then it's even worse.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that after watching Make or Break, I want Toledo to win a world title, but my gut is saying that Jack Robinson is there. He has just the fact that you can pull off 2 back-to-back wins, and he is in his interviews so calm, so cool, so collected that I think he's on a different universe wave. He's just not here. He's fucking ready to win.
That's a surfboard, all right. Looks like a 57 Chevy I used to have.
The Shizzle and the Wizzle
with Jaymin and Pear.
Hey, you know what? Just so we don't forget, I was thinking, let's just go over and have a look at the winners of the fantasy for G-Land, and then we'll do a summary of the G-Land contest.
Here good.
Before we forget all our amazing...
there's a reason why we're going to go through this list, isn't there? Here we go.
Mate, when he brings it up...
There's
a reason for him.
What are you talking about? You got second. Shut up.
No. You got 8.
Did you?
Yeah. So what happens sometimes with the WSL Fantasy League is that even though the event is finished, it hasn't always properly calculated the scores. So it happens a lot where someone will take a print screen and be like, fuck, you came 3rd or 4th again. And then maybe a day later, it will refresh. And then I will or you might possibly drop down a bit. But yeah, anyway, we can get into this. So this is an interesting one. I would really like to find out who... I don't even know how to pronounce this or what.
Pavarotti for Walter.
Yeah. So this person, whoever you are...
Pavarotti?
Yeah. They've been back to back with me in several events now. And they've been pretty much fighting me with first and second position for a while. But anyway, we'll move on. RSN... second place.
He's got about 150. No, he's got 50 points on you now.
We'll come back to that. Third place, we can go past this one really quickly. Dingo ate my baby. Yeah, we don't know who that is. We're just going to keep going. No, well done, Jaymin. 3rd place.
That's actually not... Yeah.
That's good. No, that's good, mate. That's good.
RSN. First time I see RSN.
I know. Do we have...
Who's RSN?
I'm thinking some guy called RSN is
If we call your name out in this episode on the podcast, you need to message yourself onto. You have to comment on the Instagram post that will probably follow this.
The fantasy server has grown as well. We're almost 100.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You're allowed to join a league even though this has all started. You know, you can still join in for the last event, and even if your points are good, you can join in and still be top. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's really cool as well.
Did you guys notice? I mean, the breakdown with the actual heat draws this time. So up until now, up until this point, you've had first heat winner, and so you've got the first 2 heats of the day. So what'll happen is the winner of the first heat will surf against the second place getter of the second heat, and the second place getter surfs against the first place getter of the second heat. So
you're saying the seeding format has changed?
So the seeding format's changed. So actually, previously it was all pre-seeded, and that's where you got your spot, and then it didn't change the whole contest. This time, for example, first place getter went straight into the what we call. Well, it was the third round basically, but it was I think it was the round of, I don't know, we call it round of 16 or whatever.
Is it 32 still?
Yeah, well,
it's it's
round of 16.
Yeah, you've got opening rounds, elimination round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals.
Yeah, so the elimination would still kick out 4 guys, so it'll give you the round of 16. So you're basically just going up 2 rounds before the quarters if you get through your first heat.
So
whereas previously, so you're skipping out on 2 rounds.
Yeah, but hang on, let me. This is.
So what are we talking about this now? Because we were going through this list of.
Yeah, we can go. Let's go back to the list.
I was just saying that it was a little bit hard to calibrate your team to see who was surfing against in the next round, only because they would reseed, and the first place getter would then go straight into the third round, and the guys. And previously, it was the losers that would surf against each other.
Okay, fair enough.
The third place getter, all the third place getters would surf against each other because the first round heats were all three-man heats.
Yeah.
So all the losers would surf against each other, and then those guys would get knocked out, and then it would. So what's happened now is that for the second round of the round of 16, once that everything gets reseeded again. Yeah, so it's like you can't just pick. Heat 1 winner surfing against Heat 2 winner, for example, or Heat 2 second place getter. You know what I mean? So it was, as far as picking your team, it was a little bit harder to triangulate exactly who was going to be against each other. So it was a little bit more of, unless you have a good overview of the seeding and how it actually works, which I think there's about 3 people in the world that do that.
Yeah, I don't have the patience all the time to sit there and crunch those numbers. No, you can follow people on Instagram that do that.
Yeah, so
I got surprised as well that that on the fantasy that you could actually go and change your team again after the elimination round.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me that it was locked and that was that. And maybe they changed the rules. Maybe I don't know.
Because I went through some of the teams once the trading had closed. And I noticed that, there was a lot of guys that started with teams that already had 3 or 4 guys knocked out.
Yeah.
One being Eva.
Yeah, I had the same.
Kelly was out.
I had the same. And that is because of the timing.
Yeah, it's not easy. That is.
It was like 5, 6 in the morning or whatever. You know, people are at work. They don't have the time to change their teams.
And not only that, even if you were on time, what would happen is, even if you were on time,
there was alternating heats.
Yes. So you actually, the last chance you had to change your heat was before it actually
happened.
It was a heat before.
Yeah. And I think that's how I lost Kelly, actually.
Yeah, because I was doing the same. I was thinking to myself, I'll just wait and see who wins this heat.
Just and then I'll stick that last
yeah.
Well, this is where you have the chance to do this now, because you are actually able to lock in all of your, is it 8 men that we take over? I can't remember how many it is, but basically you're able to have a fully stacked heat for what is it, the round of 16.
Yeah.
You can have a person in every single heat. which then obviously betters your chances up way more. But again, we should go back to the list and then we can dip in.
So anyway, it was a little bit more of it was a little juggling who was surfing against each other.
Yeah, but what do you think about? I think it's shit that you can change your team after you picked it with that few people left, because that's what we can see. That's why we have. If I look at the results in the list, how uneven it is. There's a bunch of people that have picked, and then the others.
But Per, that just goes to show who's passionate and who's not. If you're
that's
not,
fucking bullshit.
That's fucking bullshit. If you're not up at 5 a.m. and
I was up in the morning, and sometimes I start at 7, and I'm at work at 6 o'clock. Yeah, so
mate, you can get an email.
There's a lot of people. You can get an email,
and it says it's on.
Yeah, that doesn't help if you don't have a telephone with you.
No,
right?
fair enough.
So, I mean, I understand the hobo living in the trailer park. You can sit there and do whatever.
I was still working in Oslo, mate,
there
but I'm very passionate about surfing. So, regardless, I just say I'm going to go take a piss.
But I'm not talking about myself, especially. There's if you go for the list of the 100 people, you can see who's had the the time to change and who didn't, you know. But I think if you want to have an equal opportunity to commemorate everybody, as a fantasy surfing thing, you could do the whole thing and say, all right, after the elimination round, that's it, you know.
I mean, I kind of think as it's kind of cool to be able to watch them surf at least once and then get your team in, like watch the first round and say, okay, who's hot and who's not. You know, if anyone would have seen John putting that knee brace on, I'm sure they would have kind of recalculated. But, you know, John's got they keep a pretty kind of tight-lipped as far as how he's doing and, you know, the rest of it, just because, you know, that's the nature of competition. You kind of hold your cards close to your chest, don't you? Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if anyone knew, thinking to themselves, all right, John's, you know, he's injured, you know, it kind of changes the head noise a little bit for a lot of the players or a lot of the surfers. So I'm with you, Per. I kind of think to myself, yeah, let us watch the first round and then stick a team in. But to actually watch, it was like the third time some of these guys, or the actual third round of surfing, you could still change your team. It seemed to me like that was a little bit. Yeah,
it's too close to the final. You know,
it kind of felt like you could manipulate your team a lot better, getting closer.
But maybe that is what the WSL want. Maybe that is the way of getting more interaction and more views. Because if you take, like we kind of do, the fantasy league semi seriously, you have to watch it. You have to be on the game, and that's what they want. We watch surfing for free, so for them it's all about numbers. They need the views to go out and get the sponsorships, the this, the that. So if this helps get 2 to 5% of who take surfing like seriously or like to watch surfing seriously to watch it more, because it affects their team results, especially when we're getting so close to the end where you need to do well to like win in your league or to win whatever you want out of this, or just to get a good score in the fantasy league, then you have to watch the surfing.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if that was the case, why the hell are they giving you the free recaps? You can watch all detailed information, or every heat recap is there. You know, that makes no fucking sense. But that's a totally different discussion anyway, because I mean they're showing this around the world. Yeah, so there's 24 hours. Differences around the world where people have the chance to watch it or not watch it, because it is either in the middle of the day, it's in the evening, it's in the middle of the night. And yes, there are interested people, but they also have kids and they've got jobs and they got other things to juggle, you know. So, and the WSL, I think, knows that as well, you know. And that doesn't have anything to do pretty much with the fantasy, because I don't think maybe there's, I couldn't say a percentage of it, you know, but if they have 10 million viewers around the world, how many are in the fantasy playing? 1 million? Or?
Well, you can check.
Yeah, I know.
It's what you do is there is a certain amount of people per page, and then it tells you how many pages there are. So that
I think there's an overall in the world thing ranking, so you can pretty much find it out. But okay, I can skip it up next time.
But
different discussion.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit unfair when it comes to this game of Fantasy Surfer, because I was watching surfing many years before Fantasy Surfer came on, and I was watching it seriously as well.
I know what you mean, though. What you're saying, Scotty, is that you need to be following all the time to get maximum benefit.
Yeah, because to a certain degree, what Per's talking about with the heat analyzers and stuff like that, from a viewer's perspective, to watch it when you want, that's something. But like what happened to a lot of us now, if you weren't watching it live, you weren't able to figure out who went through the heat and who didn't, and you weren't able to change your team before or whichever one it was, the round of 32, or sorry, when the round of 16 started.
Yeah.
So that, like, I set my alarm sometimes for 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, because I know there's 2 heats to go, so I can watch it while those heats are going, maybe watch the recap at the same time as the other heats, and importantly, watch people's interviews as well.
Yeah.
Their body language, how they're talking, how they're expressing themselves. Like, do they look like they're emitting confidence or not? And that is a huge part of it. Because once you're in that zone, like, you're indestructible.
So true, mate. Because if the guys are coming back with their, the feedback from, like you say, from the interviews, they're happy to be there. They're happy to be there on the lay days. They're
not
stoked
Toledo
to
and
surf.
Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. Not Kelly, who apparently spent the whole time on a boat, who actually didn't touch dry land the whole time.
It's quite funny because he was cutting loose with Griffin Colapinto and the boys when they were in Portugal. He was doing breakdancing in the basement. Like, he was spinning out. He was probably spinning on that big shiny head of his. But no, he was complaining about the noise that was going on in the jungle on the island next to him, and it's like, come on,
that was Joanne sculling beer.
Yeah,
Joanne DeFay.
The French roar.
Nice.
All right, let's jump back to the list. Let's just go to the top 10, and we have Vox Kongen on 6th, Coconut 5.
What are you looking at now? Are you looking at overall or by event?
No, exactly. There you go.
Yeah, so we got to Jaymin, which was number 3.
And then we've got Gil Ferrat from our Brazilian counterpart from
Lofoten.
Yeah, I think Gil's back in Brazil.
Is he now?
I think so, but
he's got a Norwegian passport.
Yeah, so I think he does a little bit of time back and forth. The lucky fella. Wind Soup Surf. Yeah, I don't know. Soup Surf.
I don't know who's Wind Soup.
Wind Soup Surf.
No idea. Send
6.
a message.
Yep. Stefan Boyo in 7th place. Smurfer 69.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Valentine.
Always nipping at my heels.
Speaking about nipping at heels, 10th place. Actually, well done there, pair.
Sneaking in. All the boys in here, top 10. Oof.
Yes.
Yep. Mr. Matley, the Scro Tim, who won last time, down to 12th place. Still not bad, Tim. Good on you, buddy. 12th place. But yeah. And if you actually have a look at those scores, you could probably.
I think Eva is somewhere on page 5 for everybody. Since he's not, he's not here, we cannot really drag him through it. But
well, we should actually. This is more of an incentive to push him deep in the dirt because he's not in his own speaker team. It's
like
us
that.
3 here.
Incentive and burn is kind of the same word, isn't it?
Eva, if you're listening to this, we hope it hurts.
what I'm hearing already is I am a dad now, and
you should be up at 5 in the morning.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. You know, it's like this.
Yeah, he should have time for this.
His excuse is no excuse.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Classic.
No, but the problem is, I think Eva says that he listens to our advice and then picks a team.
Yeah.
So that was his downfall.
well, at Bells, he picked all Australians since it was in Australia. Yeah. So I wonder if he picked Rio.
I don't know. I actually had Rio. Did anyone else have Rio on the team?
Yeah, I had Rio as well.
Well, he won down in.
The
Challenger Series.
He did. He just won in Manly.
Yeah, Manly.
Against an informed Ryan Callanan. Actually, if anyone caught any of that contest, it was fucking amazing.
Ryan Callanan was on fire. Like,
if he would have pulled one of those airs in the final, I think he would have got the points.
But isn't it crazy how like if you follow the CT and the Challenger Series, the CS, it's so weird calling it the CS. It's just you've always had the QS and the CT, and then you have the CS. But anyway, so if you watch the CT and the CS, all the guys that have dropped off tour and are now in the Challenger Series, you can see the difference in their surfing. And
Leonardo, especially.
Oh my
absolutely
God.
on fire, ripping it.
They're lightning fast. All their turns are on point, and it's almost like they've just told themselves, "Oh fuck, I've just gone down to the shit league. I need to step up my game and get back up to the big boys."
But the thing is, it's not the shit league.
No.
Like the quality. I mean, because they don't get the quality. They're obviously not getting. I mean, Manly isn't.
There's a hard wave to surf.
Yeah, you saw the conditions, eh?
Yeah.
They were just basically beach bashing. You know, they were surfing Bura waves for 3 or 4 days out of the 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
no, I've surfed Manly. It's a tricky wave. Really tricky.
So it's like just a regular shithouse beach break. But it has good corners. It's usually has good banks, so it's not closing out. But you get these tides, and we get 2 meter tides in Sydney.
Yeah.
So there's a fair bit of difference between waves surfed at 9 in the morning and waves surfed at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have
those low tides and all that stuff,
and the winds as well changed a lot.
Yeah.
So, and they, to be honest, they just had snapper just before.
Yeah.
So it's they went from probably A+ grade wave to more to like a C-. C.
Yeah.
So no, they definitely had some quality before.
But dude, the girls, they're ripped as well. There was this.
Did you see Tatiana Weston's barrel?
Was that a barrel she got? Tatiana wagon wheel.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
She's got some fire in her, and I don't know, I'm presuming you boys have watched Make or Break as well, but it's such a good documentary just because we don't really know how these people live. Like, they show us what they want us to see through Instagram and social media, and you get
what their sponsors kind of want them to look
and
like.
You see them, you hear them and see them quickly in their post and sometimes surf interviews, and then you think, oh, okay, they're cool, level-headed, but man, she's fiery, eh? She's fiery. What she did to, I think it was Sage Eriksson, asking her who has priority, and then slipped off on a shit wave, and then Sage dropped in on her and she got interference. It was what?
Yeah.
And she was all playing the rules.
That's the game.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
So, but no, the girls were ripping, and Joanne Defay, she is, and they say it in a few of the podcasts, she comes off her bottom turns so hard and so square.
Yeah.
She is she rips on level with I'd say most of the blokes on tour.
Definitely.
Seriously, her backhand is lethal.
And also, I think it was in the final, or it might have been in the semis, that Carissa got that barrel in her backhand, which was as good as, if not better than, most of the guys getting barreled out there.
Yeah, I'm surprised. She's
really
made
impressive.
How many finals has she made? Is it 3 or 2 now?
Yeah, I think she's made 2 or 3 this year. She's been she's actually been in as far as, she hasn't gone any lower than a quarterfinal all year. So she's been in the finals pretty much every contest, but hasn't pulled a win this year.
No, and that's crazy to think, because she's actually in the leaderboard. Exactly. She's got the yellow jersey.
She's yellow jersey.
So no, that's crazy to think that. But it wouldn't be the first time that someone, I guess it's a bit different now because it's not based on points and you have the Trestles final. But winning, being top of the league without actually winning a competition.
Like the Joel Parkinson year.
Yeah, that's a famous one.
He won the championship that year without actually winning a contest. Yeah. But he was so consistent. Yeah. And there was a bunch of different winners that year, and he was the only guy that was always there, quarterfinals plus, So consistency definitely kind of wins the race. But when you think about it, a lot of people also say, well, how can you have a world champion that never won a contest that year? But as far as I'm concerned,
the world champion is the best surfer throughout the year.
Exactly.
It's
the world champion is the best surfer in all conditions.
Yeah.
Joel mightn't have got a win that year, but fuck, he surfed. He was the most consistent guy that year.
Yeah.
So he deserved the trophy. There's no other way. How else are you going to, unless they're going to give more points to the actual winner each time, actually change the ranking,
The
so
sport?
that the
No,
actual
but it's-
the amount of like you get what 10,000 for a win or something. You know, like unless, and I think the second place getter gets what, it's like 8,000.
Yeah, I think it's 7,800. Something like
7,000.
that.
Yeah, okay. So there is quite a bit. There is quite a bit of like distance between. You know, like a win is huge.
Yeah.
A win will pretty much get you through.
The way I see it, though,
the
is
year.
anyone who makes it quarterfinals is in contention of winning. Like the just making quarters and semis, it's anyone's game at that point. I know it comes a lot down to
Luck of the draw, the waves.
the wave quality, if it's a right or a left, because I know that this is something that CT surfers have screamed about for years, and that is the fact that there is too little left-handers on the tour, and the ones that are there are fucking Chopu and Pipeline, and you know, the ones that are like renowned to being the proving grounds, and they're just absolutely death-defying waves.
Yeah.
But
you seen what's going on in Chopes the last 2 weeks?
it's been mental. And they're going to hold the Olympics there as well.
I can't believe it. All the Olympics.
Yeah. Come on, Norwegian Landslager team, let's get there.
Good luck, Ziggers. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Make the coffin surfable.
Yeah. But no, actually, going back a little bit, I think Brisa Hennessy deserves more props as well, because she has also been super, super consistent, and she's been in the yellow leader jersey pretty much the whole
You're right.
year.
Ever since contest number 2. I
And
think
she,
she's
like,
been-
to be honest, up until like two and a half years ago, just didn't really know of her, who she was, her style of surfing and stuff. But like, if you've really been following her in the comps, she is lethal. Like, she drops a mean average. Like, she's a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, the quality in surfing in the females, I would say even in the last 2 years, has just gone through the roof.
Unbelievable, the girls. Yeah,
Like, it's
hats
the
off
first
to them.
time, like, I'm not trying to be sexist, but it's the first time that I'm really enjoying watching the women surfing.
Yeah.
Like, it is just, now it's so pleasurable because those chicks rip 100 times better than I do. And most, like, you know, amateur surfers, those girls are on fire.
Well, do you kind of feel, Scotty, like in previous years, if you were to kind of Simon Lena yourself with maybe, in that, if you were to paddle out in a heat, you kind of think to yourself, well, I might have, picked up a few points surfing the girls, but these days, just because the guys are so far ahead,
Yeah.
they're not like. I don't know anyone in Norway who does 3 or 4 airs in one wave and then pulls off and then goes out and catches another wave and does 3 or 4 airs on that wave. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you kind of can't really, you can't kind of, Simon Lena, you can't compare a guy, who's in the top 5 to anyone else. You know what I mean? Because they're in a league of their own. And so the closest thing you had to kind of compare was probably the girl surfing. But even now, with the girls surfing, like, I'm thinking to myself, there's girls now that would actually probably win heats in the men's.
Oh, for sure. And to like kind of answer your
That's
question,
awesome.
to answer your question there, if you'd gone 10 years back, I still think they would have absolutely smashed me. I think give me 1 foot border on shore and I have a chance. I'm used to groveling and that small crap. But no, I still think that when you still have people like Sally Fitzgibbons and Stephanie Gilmore and I can't remember her name to save my life, but the Brazilian woman, it begins with L.
Luna.
I think it's like Lima or something like
Celiana Lima.
Yeah. Her as well. Like, she was one of the first girls to do airs. Like, she was landing air reverses. But even now, I know we're jumping a bit back over to the Challenger Series, but like the girls that are surfing the Challenger Series and they're 16 years old, winning events and like landing the gnarliest air reverse. Yeah, like
hats off, eh?
Yeah, like I can't compare my surfing to people that surf at that level because I'm just some kook floating around in the water compared to them.
Well,
so.
even not on the contest, not in contest scenario, but like watch Coco go out and have a free surf.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're even more deadly in their free surfs.
Yeah.
Because you got all that adrenaline and nerves and you make easy
take all that away.
mistakes. Yeah. And, and that's the thing.
With the zero pressure, you know, and they usually perform the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting if we go to round of 16.
Yeah.
So we had, John falling out to Jadson.
That was an upset.
That was a huge upset. But due to the knee, we all knew Jadson was going to do well on his forehand. But I never anticipated him getting taken out I never anticipated him taking out John.
No,
for sure.
Like Jaddy, he surfed in the CS in Snapper, and he was looking sick there as well.
Yeah.
I have really not given Jadson Andre enough credit about how much time and effort he's put on into the tour, and actually he surfs really, really good. But I think he's the second oldest guy on the tour after Kelly, and he is renowned for being on the cut line all the time with his back against the wall.
Requalifier.
He lives for that. Like, he froths on it. But
he's a requalification king, isn't he?
Yeah.
He scraped through. Like, when it comes down to last contests, he needs a place. He always seems to get it.
Yeah.
And you've got to give him props for that. I don't know anyone who's actually probably surfed under the amount of pressure that he has as far as requalifying and still come out ahead. I did a little bit of, when the G-Land comp came along, it had been a long time since I'd seen guys actually surf it. So I jumped on YouTube and kind of did a little bit of a, just to get a little bit of an idea of what the wave look like from top to finish, because we all know it's a really long, stretched out left-hand point break, or a reef break, sorry. And there's probably, I think there's like, what they call it, money trees, and
money trees. Kongs is the first part. It's where it comes rolling in at the top. Then I think it goes through
a racetrack section.
They have. I think it's like Kongs,
Speedies.
money trees, speedies. I think that's what and speedies is like that super gnarly
shallow
barrel.
inside
bit.
So it was interesting to see, like, in some of the heats, the actual positioning of the guys as well.
Completely different.
Because some guys were quite happy to sit a little bit further inside. They mightn't have got the biggest set waves, but they were getting those waves that were actually linking up with those last two sections.
Yeah.
So they were still, there was still big points on offer as far as the amount of wave they had left, even when they weren't sitting out all the way out on the point, as far as they could be actually on the break. So it was. It was interesting to see strategy come into it.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of clips on YouTube, and I saw Rio actually on one of them. This was a couple of years ago, and he was surfing really well. So I put him in my team, and I actually put him, I was actually, he came up against an informal Felipe Toledo, and I could see that Rio really, he didn't seem to, I think the pressure got to him a little bit in the end there, because he'd come off a win. He was in form. We all knew he was going to surf well. But, it was just interesting to see. It was a little bit slow in the heat that he had. And, Felipe, he basically ground and pound through that heat. So he came up against a high seed. So... but I would have been interested to see if it wasn't Felipe, I think Rio would have had a good chance of getting himself a little bit further in the contest. Another guy I was actually looking out for a little bit was Miguel Pupo. I know he's not maybe the most...
no, I had him on my team as well.
You did?
Yeah.
Because I just thought Miguel surfs really well on left-hand waves. We all know how good he is at pipe and stuff, and he's not scared of a big barrel. And... but an informed Griff.
Yeah, he
took him out, and Matthew McGilroy would probably be the upset here, taking out Ethan, and as well as Connor took out Italo.
I had Matthew.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. So good call there, but I just feel that those, looking back, it's always good, Captain Hindsight, but there was a lot of close calls, and the waves weren't perfect. they did struggle a little bit, and they, you know, like you said, they were starting and stopping the contest all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess, you had to be really on your game from heat 1, first round, all the way through. And
I reckon it's going to be another 25 years till they go back to G-Land.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe they bring another Dream Wave on tour. And no, what I can, like, this contest was still really sick. And the thing that I probably picked up the most was people like Jack Robinson and Griffin Colapinto, is that they were waiting for the best waves. They were not screwing around with the 5s and the 6s. They wanted to drop excellent numbers, and a lot of the time that is both what the spectators want and the judges, because it just goes to show that you are actually trying to position yourself and perform your maneuvers in the most critical part of the wave. And if you have two surfers that did the exact same thing on the wave, but one surfer's wave was a little bit bigger, a little bit more like steeper, had a little bit more, you know.
He was getting the points.
Yeah, like, seriously, if you do one wave, two surfers do the exact same air, the exact same turn on the wave, what is the point of difference?
They go back to the quality of the wave usually.
Yeah. And it's such a weird thing to think, because, like, that means that you're actually taking, like, a foreign object, like a wave, into consideration with the point. Like, it's not like in snowboarding. I guess you kind of do judge a line if we're going to talk like backcountry and stuff like that, but it's not like he got... there was no advantage given, is there? Whereas with surfing, it's the luck of the draw. Yeah.
If the waves come to you or you're in the right spot, hey, there might be a 2-wave set, 3-wave set. You take the first wave, you're taking a chance, aren't you? Because you don't know the quality of the second and third wave. So, it's very tactical. It's a game of chess.
Yeah.
At this level, those guys are all so good. If they were surfing in the wave pool, as we know, you kind of, everyone's given the same amount of opportunity.
Yeah.
But in Mother Nature, it's not always the same.
Nah, and I think wave pools are awesome. They really are cool. They're going to help us out with a lot of things. And I'm praying they get to Norway at some point as well. But for the most part, the added element of a moving environment that basically can go quiet for 5, 10, 15 minutes, that is so exciting. Because let's say it's a surfer that you really like, or someone you really want to get through, and then all of a sudden they got the score, you got 2.5 minutes, and it goes flat, and it's just like those 2.5 minutes feel like half an hour.
Hours.
You know?
But I also think, and that's an aspect that nobody really talks about, is that surfing is a nature sport, and take Kelly as the GOAT example. Everybody, whenever you see him in the water and they're talking and commentating and talking about it, it's like he has that connection to the ocean that nobody else has.
Yeah. It's a splash.
He always sits in the right spot. He always gets they can accumulate the waves, some of the best ones. And what's the other thing is they also have that talent of feeling the ocean. You know what I mean?
I think John has the same thing as well, and I reckon Jack Robbo has the same thing. But it's
some of them have that. They have that calmness and
you're getting spiritual over there, mate.
Oof.
You know.
So I think that also is one of the advantage points of the best. You know.
That's like you said, it's a point of difference. He understands the ocean probably a little bit more.
Yeah, oceanography and
I don't know.
You can read you can skim to the horizon. You see the movements there, and you understand what that movement actually relate to.
How many guys come down, look out, and say, okay, you might sit there and be watching the waves, but are you counting, the amount of waves in the set? Are you counting which wave of the set is actually the better wave? Remember in Bells, for example, it was always the second wave of the set. It was always like never even take off on the first wave. Even if it was an amazing wave, the second one was going to be better every time. And so, it's just little things like that kind of separate the guys that, put their faith in what they believe, and they're taking a risk as well, because we all know, we've all been surfing, and you get a one wave set every now and again.
And
it's like the most frustrating thing, I guess, if you're in a contest.
Mine.
Yeah.
Wine?
This is not some job flipping burgers at the local drive-in. Yes, the surfboard bothers me. Yes, your approach to this whole goddamn case bothers me. And yes, you bother me!
The Shizzle and the Wizzle.
With Jaymin and Peer.
But I don't know if you guys remember back to the semi-final with Gabriel and Jack Robinson. Gabriel got beaten by Jack in the... He was winning the heat almost right to the end, and Jack got that last wave at the end. And, I mean, being an Aussie, I backed Jack all the way, but I really feel that...
It was overscored?
I kind of feel they juiced him a bit, yeah, mate.
I felt the same thing.
Did you feel the same?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something about Jack surfing at the moment that the judges are loving.
Yeah.
You know, he's critical. He's fluid. He's fast on his feet. His barrel skills are amazing, as good as anyone's on tour. But obviously, at the moment, there's something about Jack surfing because, Gabriel was on fire.
Yeah.
But even saying that, Gabriel, to me, seemed like he was still only surfing 75, 80%. It just kind of felt like there was, I don't know whether it was because the wave wasn't offering as many air sections as he would usually surf, but it just felt to me like he was...
It's a hard one, that.
Yeah. I just looking back, I just kind of felt like he was a little bit maybe too maybe, I wouldn't say maybe overconfident, but I was kind of thinking...
maybe just demotivated. Think that you've traveled to G-Land and you're expecting, okay, they've hyped it up so much. Like, I don't know when you start to look at the forecasting for an event when you're in it yourself. Some people, I can imagine, sit on it every 30 seconds of it a day while other people... But imagine that you're expecting to go to G-Land, and we know Gabriel Medina loves big, gnarly waves. He's shown it multiple times at Chope, shown it multiple times at Pipeline. He in Fiji at Cloudbreak as well. So imagine that it's the same thing for Kelly. He needs that awesome contestable wave that's just pure and perfect to get psyched.
To fire him up.
Yeah. So maybe there just wasn't enough of perfect conditions to give him that extra fire.
Well, sometimes you're right, because I think when the waves are a little bit less than perfect, it offers up more chances of an upset, I kind of feel. Because, like I said, you can't beat Gabriel and Felipe outside the pool.
No.
When you get everyone on the same wave, those guys are usually always winning.
Yeah, some people will excel in different conditions compared to others.
I don't know if you remember back, or even Make or Break. I think they were filming, the wave pool last year.
Yeah.
And I remember Jack, he kind of, he surfed good on the right, but he had real issues on the left.
Yeah.
And it was just like to see those guys so consistent, knowing that they have the same wave. They could pre-program their mind to say, all right, when you get to this point of the wave, it's going to do this and that. I guess when they start to understand all that, then you just see, just that little bit of, how can I say, a little bit more
of an edge.
Yeah.
No,
that was definitely a close heat, and like I said, the judges are in love with Jack at the moment.
Yeah,
and
he pulled it off with Italo. What was it? Was it Margie's? Pulled off the same thing.
Exactly, and even down to the final with Jack and Felipe. I mean, 13.5 to 13.16.
Nothing between it.
That is, one or two judges. That's like 1 or 2 points we all know how the judging works, but we're talking about such small and minimal
marginal differences. It's insane. Yeah.
And that's the at the end of the day, that's surfing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you just talk about the end number, which is say 13.5 versus a 13.1, but it could be an 8.
Yeah, he probably could
and a
still.
3 or a 5, or it could be, that's
exactly a 7 and 6, or
that person might have needed a really big number to get through. Yeah, that is very true.
That's what's also behind the number,
Absolutely, but the fact that, for example, someone's not running, for example, in my head when I see, if I'm going to like splash through the heat analyzer and I see that, you know, in a 3-man heat, there's a 10, a 12, and then like a 17 or 18.5. Then you go, whoa, what happened there? Because that, you know, that was like 2 9s or 2 8s, or, you know, those were big freaking numbers. So, but yeah, like on both, I would say on both sides, the men's and the women's was super, super tight. And like just going into the women's quickly in the quarterfinals, that is what saved me in this fantasy team. And that was the girls, because I got all my 4 picks into the semis.
Without Jayren, I wouldn't be on 10th. I had her as a double pick as well, like my power surfer.
Nice.
So
I backed Carissa as my power surfer. I've been riding Carissa the whole time, and she has pretty much been
running Chris.
yeah.
How was that?
No, she's strong. She's bulky. Yeah. You with the new pelvis. You should.
I was going to say lots of talk.
Lots of talk.
Well, she's riding you, isn't she?
Whatever way it goes, whatever floats a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not fussed, but yeah, no, who did she knock out? I think she knocked out Sally Fitzgibbons in the quarts.
Can't sell.
Yeah, well, and we can talk a bit about Sally as well. She got the whole. Is it this year or next year's wild card?
Next year's.
I think she got the whole, like a wild card for the whole tour next year. How crazy is that?
Wow. Well, that's what happens when you.
Well, if people are listening to this, and
your sponsor is the same as WSL sponsor. I think you know.
There you go.
If we're incorrect here, people need to.
They don't have to redo all the advertising for next year. It saves them a bit of cash. But hey,
we should actually sponsor the W's. Should we buy a slot so we can, in the middle of the 6-time repeat of the same, you could get yourself down, do what you for. Do you got a recording of this?
You know what?
G-Land's
I actually
repetitive.
What was it? It was a bit more like rap, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was.
It's always become like this.
Yeah.
Don't you hold me down or something like that.
No, the one that drove me crazy was the Mia Rip Portugal Pro. That one.
That was a head fuck.
You know what?
God.
That was a Cuban thingy. I'm actually looking backwards and it's like, oh, I want that back.
Yeah, and actually there was one that didn't have any singing, or there was no lyrics to it.
Yeah.
And
It
I
was
was
just
thinking,
music.
yeah, that one was probably, looking back on it, that was probably the easiest one to deal with. Because as soon as they start putting in some words about, it kind of like, then to me, my imagination starts going off. Am I in a triathlon? Am I doing bench pressing at the gym? Like, this is music.
Getting you pumped on your sofa, ready for some intense, hardcore heat surfing.
You're out there flipping big ass tires and pulling ropes.
Exactly.
Crossfitting it.
Yeah, or you're in the octagon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Anyway.
how about we go over and have a look at a little bit of the women's from, say, the quarterfinals up.
Yeah, well, let's have a look here. Yeah, Brees Hennessy knocked out to Bronte McCauley. That's a pretty exciting one there, because obviously Brees was running or had the leader Jeep jersey, the yellow jersey, and then Joanna Fay knocking out Stephanie Gilmore. Not by much there either.
Steph, it was good to see Steph back a little bit. But
Yeah.
Steph always, she's a bit of a Kelly. She's like the femme goat.
Yeah.
Because she really, you see her in good quality waves. Really, that's where she has her edge.
Yeah,
and as soon as the waves are losing their quality, I kind of feel that she's starting to lose her quality.
She's a very polished and tidy surfer, I'd say.
Definitely.
And she doesn't have, let's say, like, not just the power, but the criticalness. She's more drawn out carves and it's a completely different style, which makes surfing such a weird sport to judge, because people have personal preferences. It can be so one-sided at sometimes. But yeah, she's definitely fighting to keep her style and her type of surfing very relevant, because if you look at people like Tatiana Weston Webb and like all the new generation like Betty Sakura Johnson, and like they're powerful, you know, and some of them are still so young now as well, but it's cool to see that they're going for airs and really chucking themselves over the ledge at places like Pipe and stuff. But yeah, Stephanie getting knocked out there by Joanne DeFay. And then obviously Lakey and Tatiana as well. That was a good heat, actually.
That was a really good heat.
And semis, Carissa knocking out Tatiana, Joanna knocking out Bronte. And then there was a pretty interesting final. I think I watched like half of it.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I didn't have time. I was going to work. So...
But you're so interested. You put it in the alarm clock.
Yeah, no, I am. But I'm sitting on the bus from Snarøya to Oslo, so I have time.
Oslo. Sure.
Yeah.
But then, yes, Joanne saved me. Savior.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send her a congratulations card.
No, just send her a beer.
Yeah, exactly. Six-pack.
She knows how to swab them down.
Shizzle on a Wizzle is supported by our proud sponsors Lofoten Surf Center, Surfed Shop, and surfshop.no. Thank you very much. But yeah, that was G-Land. I think we can wrap up G-Land. We exhaustively talked about it now. And we are now on Friday, the 10th, and in 2 days, which means people will not listen to this before. Yeah, maybe if Eva comes out on Sunday afternoon and really feels for it,
everyone should. Yeah, well, they're not going to hear this before it comes out, but yeah, it's on Eva. It's all down to Eva.
It's all on Eva. It's always on Eva.
Yeah, pressure's on.
But yeah, we're going to El Salvador, Surf City. That's a pretty cool name for a town.
It is. I think I'm just going to swoop in here, and because it's on the same theme, and just say congratulations to the Norwegian junior team, because I followed that more actually intensively than I did G-Land, and I think Uncle Frost posted it up really well on a Facebook post saying congratulations. They came, I think it was 34th out of something like 45 or something, and we beat Sweden, and it feels so good.
Was it good to beat Sweden?
Sverige, vad skedde där alltså? So yeah, shout out to all the boys and girls, and obviously to the landslag trainer Shannon and Pat and Ingeborg for taking them out there and looking after them, because
looked like they had a great time.
Yeah, we need to get the Norwegian level up there.
Yeah, it was just awesome to see, you know, Norway actually having a team and making the effort to go down there. Shannon for looking after the kids, and Ingeborg.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Pete down there running around.
Yeah.
Patrick, down there running around. It was cool to see.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and it was nice to hear them on one of the previous podcasts that you guys had with them. Actually, no, I think it was Eve. Yeah, it was you. There was Eva as well.
There as well. Yeah,
that was cool to have a little update.
Yeah, no, they had a blast. Imagine that, mate. Yeah, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, and you traveling around the world, going to the junior ISA.
Yeah, and it's such a good experience, because it really brings you it brings the best out of not only your surfing, but as what surfing could be as a team sport, which is not something that often really happens, because it is such an individual sport. You know, it's all me. It's not about teams. So yeah, it's a certain beauty.
The Olympics has changed that.
Yeah, definitely.
No, you got the Brazilian stormers on the beach. You got the Australian.
But the Brazilian storm has always been there.
Yeah,
and that's another really cool thing to see, that it's just how even at CT level, all those boys hang out. They all watch each other's heats. They're all down there, and that just, I think, really reflects on the results.
Yeah, but you can see the Aussies. They're taking over that little bit now.
Yeah.
They're sticking around, supporting each other. Jaymin, are you parting in this podcast?
I sure am.
Okay, thank you.
For everyone that's listening, Per is telling Jaymin off for being on his phone.
Kids,
Kids these days. Damn.
Give us a daddy excuse.
We'll give him some slack, seeing as he's just had a new hip and installed into him. The pelvicator.
There is no more slack.
There's no more slack. My leg's the same length. There is no more slack.
There's no more slack.
Which leg? The third leg.
Yeah, actually.
Got a new hip.
The one on the outside's catching up.
Got some new bearings on that one. But the kids are all right. But then again, fuck the kids. Let's talk about the adults that are going to be surfing there.
Salvador.
No, I'm not just kidding. So that gave us a chance to have a look at the conditions there, and
and the setup, and also like I think a lot of other things that even myself I forget to take into consideration is like the traveling to get there. What the climate is there, because dealing with a place that's super hot and super humid or super dry, it's like if you've grown up like what we have in Norway, where it's, you know, minus 20 in the winter and ice and stuff, like it's hard to go through a whole day and not to just surf once, but surf anywhere from 1 to 4 or 5 times in a day. It is brutal.
Yeah, you actually.
Are we talking about the kids again?
We can just talk about competitive surfing in general.
Yeah, but we're talking about this part here, you know. So they're all flying from the jungle to the jungle.
Yeah.
So then I was just talking about Jayren,
El Salvador
with the WSL.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that do we know which wave they're doing on? Have they mentioned it?
No, there's a little bit of.
Or do they have like other places where they have maybe 2, 3?
They have like three different setups there, I think, and something is an A-frame, and there's a point break.
Okay,
So
yeah, because they did. I know that the kids were surfing La Bocana, and I can't remember El Sonsalo. I think it's the other way.
Yeah, I saw 2.
And that's what the ISA was surfing. But if they're surfing the same waves, I have no idea.
I kind of feel, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel being close to home, the little bit of an advantage there might be with the Brazilians.
Okay.
You know,
I like that.
This one as well will have. It'd be great to see the wildcard. Carlos Munoz is back after his injury at Sunset.
It was Pipeline. He's
first
been out
contest
since
of the year. First contest of the year.
And that's such crazy because he's
the
been
shoulder,
out.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Popped his shoulder. So
While paddling in for a wave.
yeah. Well, I think the lip caught him, and
then it was just the paddle that was the extra cherry on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you saw it. It was. I remember watching that actually live. He was paddling for a wave, and then you just see his facial expression. He's screaming, and he just went from going 100% commit for a wave to just pulling off completely.
Too much torque.
But I kind of feel, even when you're close to your, you know, we're talking, it's probably a little bit closer to the equator there, El Salvador, Central America.
Hot,
but really hot. But I guess, you know, a lot of those guys, Italo isn't too far, comes from northern, Italo and Jadson come from northern Brazil, very similar kind of climate. You know, of course these guys travel the world a lot and they're used to different all sorts of conditions. And of course they love surfing tropical conditions. But I just feel that, you know, it's not just paddling out there, but it's like, you know, I mean, when I turn up in Indo the first 2 or 3 days, I can't sleep because it's too hot.
Yeah.
So it ruins my energy levels during the day are a lot lower because I'm worn out because I haven't had a good sleep because the humidity at night kills you until you get used to it.
And that's what I was trying to say a little bit before, Per. It was more about the conditions like of being there, and like, you know, some people maybe like Toledo, they feel so restless when you're at G-Land because there's nothing to do, there's nothing to get your mind off the comp, you're just there. So maybe people have certain advantages and disadvantages from each place they go.
Yeah.
And I think they actually said, a lot of the Brazilians in their interviews when they were in Portugal, that they felt very much at home. And I guess that's because they can speak
the
Portuguese.
same language. Yeah, exactly.
And I guess it's similar-ish. I can't remember when the comp was. It was actually cold. No, this is not the same
I guess,
climate.
yeah, sure. But those little things, I think, go a long way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You don't feel so much of a foreigner.
Yeah.
I know I don't when I travel to the UK or whatever.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you
Everyone
speak the language.
You kind of feel a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
It just, like there's so many layers. And I just kind of think the more confident and calming and the more you kind of feel like you're at home,
the easier it is.
The more relaxed you are. Yeah. It doesn't always go that way, but I just kind of feel as a, it's still something you need to take into consideration.
Yeah. For sure. And actually,
I think that Jack Robinson, he doesn't give a shit if it's fucking sweaty in the air or if it's fucking freezing down below.
He just lives for it.
He just goes in there and is like, I'm going to fucking smash the fucking waves. I've got 30 minutes in the sun, then I'm back in the shade again, and I'm going to wait.
Do a bit of meditating and look at my really hot Brazilian wife.
I hear what you guys say, but I think there's too much professionalism in that.
But I've literally opened the heat drawer for El Salvador, and it's funny that you've mentioned Carlos Munoz, because guess who he stacked up in his first heat? He's got Kelly and he's got Robbo.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, so he's got Jack Robinson and the GOAT. That is Carlos Munoz's first heat back in after his injury.
I haven't even chosen the team yet.
No, me neither. But I'm looking at the heats, and there's going to be some absolute crackers here, for sure.
Apparently, I was listening to another podcast. As far as the forecast goes, it doesn't look amazing.
No, okay, I hadn't looked that far ahead yet.
So I heard that today, and I was kind of thinking to myself, I will also take that into slight consideration. But saying that, look how many times previous contests this year where we've kind of thought maybe the forecast was going to have some kind of influence.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it didn't really make a huge difference. But the potential's there for it to make a difference. Yeah.
What I saw from the kids surfing there at the World Junior Championships is it was choppy, it was chunky.
The waves moved around a bit. There was some backwash.
Yeah.
You noticed that? There was a bit of backwash in the waves.
Yeah.
Black sand.
Yeah.
Black sand.
Oh, it makes such a big difference.
Burn the bottom of your feet before you get down to the water. So for those guys wearing Crocs all the way to the water.
And it's like...
Those tender, soft feet.
Yeah.
No, but I mean...
I've just checked the time difference. They are, I think...
8 hours behind us?
Yeah. 8 hours. So
we're looking at like a 7 o'clock start would be like 2 or 3 in the afternoon for us.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it's awesome as far as if they don't kick off first thing in the morning, then you're going to pretty much be able to come home from work, open your computer and watch the first heat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's awesome.
Yeah.
And that means that, about 8 hours. It's probably so the last heat is probably after midnight, which is fine. So we're going to be able to really sit down and fucking get into this contest. Indulge for sure. Yep.
No, beautiful. Well, you boys got any picks? Like, I know it's a bit hard with what the conditions are going to be like, but as far as just gut feelings, what are you boys thinking?
I feel am I?
Okay, I'm going to quickly run through the top 5 of the draw here, and then see if that chucks in. So you got Filipe Toledo in first. You got Jack Robinson second, John Johnson third. However, he is not competing. Kanoe Igarashi in fourth, and Ethan Ewing in fifth.
Yeah. Well, looking at that, we all know that any one of those guys could win. One of those guys could win. Yeah. But I'm still feeling for this contest being a kind of a little bit maybe like you were saying before, Per, the wave isn't like it's like, okay, I'm not sure whether they're going to be surfing the points or the beach breaks or both, but I kind of feel like it offers up a little bit more of maybe as far as probably I think maybe the advantage might go to kind of like the aerial surfers. The guys are a little bit lighter on their feet. Like in those bigger waves, the guys with the bigger legs pushing more water. I think Filipe Toledo will do really well in this contest. So he'd definitely be my pick for this one, I'd say.
I don't know why my ass was just twitching, but I think Jordy is going to make a little comeback on that wave.
the South white chocolate.
Yeah.
because from what I saw, the white chocolate is so good. From what I saw from the waves when I was watching with the kids there, it's somehow like it reminded me a little bit of Sunset-ish, Haleiwa-ish, like especially Haleiwa. With chop in the face, and you have to really go to work on that wave, and you have to put, and that's
it's not a perfect lineup.
It's not a perfect lineup.
You don't get to square up off the bottom like you do at G-Land in this just like perfect like skate park kind of environment.
Yeah, no, you have to. You're
going to get a bit of backwash. You're going to get a bit of chop. So you're thinking about those guys that actually have that rail control and can move their board in a fucking instant.
Okay,
Felipe,
I'm just going to interrupt both of you. So I just did a little bit of scanning around. It sounds like the comp is going to be at Punta Roca, which is a sick right-hand point break.
Yeah.
And I just, for shits and giggles, busted open Magic Seaweed, and that's what we're dealing with.
Okay.
So I know you boys are talking about choppy, shitty waves, but that looks pretty fucking insane.
It does, doesn't it?
But that's not a picture of a bad forecaster.
Is that Ivar on his bodyboard?
That is Ivar on his bodyboard. Landslaget Norge, her kommer vi, heia!
All right, so okay, so that looks like J-Bay.
Yeah,
Margaret
it looks
River,
like
J-Bay.
Safi in Morocco. It looks insane.
Apparently, as far as like previous contests out there, I don't think there was a CT. I think from the women's comp. I was listening on Stab. There was a CT on the women's comp maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But most of the guys that have won there, even with the guys and the girls, have all been regular footers.
Okay, yeah, well, that kind of does make
so
sense.
If you kind of thinking about choosing teams, I mean, there's definitely some guys that, for example, some goofy footers out there that are amazing on their backhand.
Yeah.
Nat Young coming from, for example, Santa Cruz. That's growing up in a right hand point break.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to be. He's got that explosive backhand. He's going to definitely not feel like he's too far away from his ideal scenario. You know what I mean? So I guess
yeah, it would actually be really nice to see Nat Young pull through. He's 16th on the rankings, but I feel like he hasn't really been like there. Like his surfing, especially like you're saying, his backhand is so sick. It is mental, but it doesn't feel like he's been a topic of conversation in any of these competitions at all, really. But yeah, so sorry, I'll go back. Your pick was white chocolate, Jordy Smith. Yours was...
I'm with Felipe.
You're going with Felipe. I think that Italo has something to prove. And I think that he's probably pretty upset with the last few comps, and I think, like you said a bit, this is going to be close to home for him. A little bit better climate, a bit more maybe his type of atmosphere, and like just seeing now that it's going to be alright. Like he's a goofy, so he's mental on his backhand, but like we've seen, he can bring anything out of the bag. And if it is going to be pretty crap conditions like you're forecasting, or like they forecasting, sorry, then I wouldn't put all my money on him, but he looks like a pretty good contender for first place.
It's a decent call. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah.
Well, then that's what we're gonna do. 48 more hours. Well, there's usually a timer on the...
Yeah, it's... sorry, I just clicked
So I guess
here.
Norwegian time, we're looking at Sunday afternoon?
1 day and 19 hours.
19 hours, there we go.
So is that Sunday afternoon for us? It's about 2 o'clock Sunday, correct?
Yeah.
3
o'clock
I'm very unsure. I'm not going to use my brain cells to crunch the
I
numbers.
Sunday,
already
3 o'clock.
discussed with my girlfriend what time it was kicking off. So I think it's about Sunday and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, yeah.
Cool.
I think we should leave it with that. We pretty much summed up the shit out of G-Land. And
Yeah, we did.
now it's just to go to the shops tomorrow, get your
Get your party packs for the weekend.
party packs for the weekend, and get your ass in the couch on Sunday.
Yeah. Where are the prizes going this week, Per?
Well, we have to
you
find
need to
out
do
who
that.
the Pavarotti for Walter is.
Yeah, you need to send
know?
in your messages.
So,
If Mr. Pavarotti doesn't come forward, does it go down to second place getter?
Yeah, I'd say why not?
Or do we hold it?
no.
We hold it for.
We hold it for. There's other occasions.
So this is where we're
and
going
there's
to
there's a big at the end of the year winner. So
Yeah.
or we just slip in some agreements and terms and conditions here, which is that we will hold on to the prize for 1 year, and if you do not turn up, then
what are you talking about? You have clearly not worked in the public work system. If you have stuff left at the end of the year, they're gonna deduct that because obviously you didn't need all
You
that
didn't use
stuff.
up your budget?
You didn't use up your budget, so we're gonna cut your budget with whatever you had over. So next year, that's what our sponsors gonna do. Say, no, well, you've got 2 cups over. No, we're gonna give you less.
okay. Fair
So
enough.
who are our sponsors, by the way?
Exactly, and that was the final transition bridge
that
into.
was your segue into the.
That was my segue into that, and you caught on that one. Yeah, we'll thanks from the north to the south goes to Lofoten Surf Center, surf.no, surfshop.no, sorry, which is always in Oslo, and we have surfed.no, local
West Side?
at Voll.
Yeah.
So these are our friends and supporters, and they are supporting every listener.
Exactly. Can I just throw a little shout out to Jimbo's Dingoes, who will be back at work next week. So anyone needs some board fixes, come
He's
and
a
see
legend.
me.
He's a fucking legend.
Do it now while it's flat.
Yes.
Yeah. And I reckon we could almost wrap it up there. What do you say, Per?
Yeah. Thanks for having me,
Hey,
gents.
Scotty, it was awesome, man. I
Yeah.
really
Do you
enjoyed
have any
your.
here? Give shout out to Valentin. Say something nice to him.
No, I don't need to give
no,
him a
we
shout
don't do
out.
that.
No, he knows he's having a great time, and he will listen to this podcast, and he'll be sitting
Well, I
there
bought a
with
board bag of Valentine during the week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope that money goes to
he'll be sitting there
plenty of nasi gorangs and warm cokes on the beach.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will be back quite soon because we are just jumping right in.
And you know what? There isn't a huge transition between El Salvador and Brazil. I think there was like 2 days. So hopefully
that's true.
They finish up the contest in a reasonable amount of time as far as the window goes. So we can stick in a little potty in between, update everyone on how they went, and get all psyched up for the contest, for the South American leg of the contest.
Brazil. All right. That's it.
Brazil. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
You
Bye-bye.
here. Bye, peeps.
The Shizzle on the Wizzle.
The Wizzle Shizzle.
The Shizzle on the Wizzle.
The Shizzle on the Wizzle.
With Jaymin and Per.